Good morning. Today's lesson is 1.1. Today we are going to divide multi-digit numbers. Our essential question, how do you divide multi-digit numbers? So let's unlock the problem. When you watch a cartoon, the frame of film seems to blend together to form a moving image. A cartoon lasting just 90 seconds requires 2,208 frames. How many frames do you see each second when you watch the cartoon? So we're going to divide 2,208 divided by 92. You can estimate using compatible numbers. 2,208 is close to 2,200, and 92 is close to 100. Doing that in my head, 100 goes into 222, 22 times. Pretty easy. I'll just kind of do it out. I know it's been a while since we've done this. So 100 can't go into 2, it can't go into 22, but it can go into 222 2 times. And then 2 times 100 is 200. I'm going to now subtract 0 from 0 is 0, 2 from 0 is 2, and I've got nothing there. Then I'm going to bring down the 0. So now I have 100 going to 200, which goes in 2 times. 2 times 100 is 200, subtract, and I have a remainder of 0. Just to kind of remind you of the algorithm that I know that you learned at the end of 5th grade. So 92 goes to 220 about 2 times, and 2 times 92 is 184. So I'm going to subtract. I can't subtract the 0 from the 4, so remember I have to turn this, I have to take 10 from the place value prior, and again I'm going to have to do that again. So now I have 10 from 4, which is 6, and I have 12 from 8, which is 3, and 1 from 1, which is nothing. I bring down the 8. So now I have 368, and I have to figure out how many times 92 can go into that. You could kind of do a guess and check. You could try by 3, you could try by 4. Let's try by 4. 92 times 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 9 is 36. So I get 368, which is exactly what goes here. So 92 times 4 is 368. And when I subtract, I get nothing left. So compare your estimate with a quotient. Since the estimate of 22 is close to the answer of 24, the answer is reasonable. So you see 24 frames for each second. All right, example 1, we're going to divide 12,749 divided by 8. We're going to estimate using compatible numbers. Well, 12,749 is close to 12,800. And 18 is close to 20. And 20 goes into 12,800 640 times. If you wanted, you could work that out just to have that. So we go 20. 20 can't go into 1. It can't go into 12, but it can go into 128 2 times. I'm sorry, 6 times. 6 times 20. 6 times 20 is 0, and then I get 12 is 120. I subtract, I get 8. I bring down my 0. 20 goes into 84 times. 4 times 20 is 80. I subtract, I get 0. I bring down my 0. So it's going to go in 0 times, so that's how I got this number here. Just doing the algorithm, even though I know it's something that we can do in our head since it's whole numbers, so that you remember how to do that algorithm. So step 1 is to divide. They've already started it for us. So they have 18. Can't go into 1, can't go into 12, but it can go into 127. 7 times. 7 times 18 is 126. I subtract, 7 from 6 is 1. I bring down my 4, so now I have 14. 18 cannot go into 14, so I'm going to put a 0 up here, and I'm going to bring down another number. So now I have 149, and 18 goes into 149. I just happen to know it goes in 8 times, but you can try it different times. It doesn't matter. You can do the guessing check. 18 times 8. So 8 and 8 is 64. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 6 is 114. So we get 144. Make sure I put my 8 up here. And then when I subtract, I get 5. So my remainder is 5. So 12,749 divided by 18 is 708 with a remainder of 5. You can check your answer to make sure, because remember the opposite of multiplication is division, and the opposite of division is multiplication. So in order to do that, I'm going to take this 708, and I'm going to multiply it times 18. So 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 0 is 0, plus 6 is 6. 8 times 7 is 56. And then I'm going to put I like to call it a space holder, or my 0 right here. And now I'm on to the 1. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 7 is 7. And now I'm going to add the numbers together. So 4 times 0 is 4. 6 times 8 is 14. Carry my 1 there. 6 plus 1 is 6. 5 plus 7 is 12. And now I have to add back in my remainder, because remember those were 5 left over. And when I do that, I get 12,749, which is my starting number, so I know I have the correct answer. Example 2. We're going to divide 59,990 by 280. So first we're going to estimate using compatible numbers. So 59,990 is very close to 60,000. And 280 is very close to 300. So 300 goes into 60,200 times. Now let's divide the actual numbers. 280, well, we know that it goes in about 200 times. So if we try 2 times 280 is 560. I'm going to subtract. I get 9 from 0, which is 9. 9 from 6 is 3. I bring down my 9. Now I have 399. I have 280 going into 399. Goes in 1 time. 280. 9 from 0 is 9. 9 from 8 is 1. And 3 from 2 is 1. And then I'm going to bring down my 0. 2 goes into it 4 times. So 4 times 280, if I go 280 times 4, 4 times 0 is 0, 4 times 8 is 32, 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11, so it goes 11, 20, 2 from 9 is 7, and 0 is 70, so I'm going to have a remainder of 70. Now I want you to write the remainder as a fraction. So my remainder is 70 over the 280. So 70 over the 280, if I'm going to simplify that, I can divide, 70 can go into 280 and 70 can go into 70. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 70. 70 goes into 70 1 time, and 70 goes into 280 4 times. If you don't know those facts right off, it doesn't matter. You just try a 2, try a 3, until you get the closest number. You don't have to have them all memorized. You can just keep doing a guess and check. And use this estimation to help you with your guess and check. You know it's probably going to be somewhere around 200 since you've already guesstimated. Now compare your estimate with the quotient. Since the estimate 200 is close to 214, the reasonable answer, it's a reasonable answer. Remember, it's 214. So 59,990 divided by 280 is 214 and 1/4. Describe 2 ways to check your answer. Well, one way is to multiply 214 by 280 and add 70, just like we did in the last problem. Another way is to multiply 214 by 280 and then multiply 1/4 by 280. And then if you add the products together, you should get the dividend. All right, let's solve some more. We have 29 going into 986. So 29 goes into 98 about 3 times. 29 times 3 is 27. 3 times 2 is 6, plus the 2 is 8, so I get 87. Remember to put your answer right above, so we have the 98, because we weren't doing 29 into 9, we were doing 29 into 98. So now I'm going to subtract. 8 from 7 is 1, 9 from 8 is 1. Then I'm going to bring down my 6. So now I have 29 going into 116. And 87, so let's try one more. So 29 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So I get 116 with no remainder. So my answer is 34. Okay, I'm going to skip forward. On these problems right here, when it's written like this, my suggestion is to take the 26 and go ahead and write it out so that you can do the math. All right, so 26 can't go into 1, it can't go into 11, but it can go into 110. And it goes in about 4 times. Let's try that. 26 times 4. 4 times 6 is 24. Put my 2 there. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. So I have 104. I'm going to subtract. I can't take a 4 from a 0, so I'm going to make this be a 10. Change that, and because I'm borrowing from the next side. So 10 from 4 is 6. The rest of these are zeros, so now I'm going to bring down my 5. 26 goes into 65 about 2 times. 26 times 2 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So I get 52. I'm going to subtract. 5 from 2 is 3. 6 from 5 is 1. And I'm going to bring down my 0. Now I have 26 going into 130. So 26, let's just say it's 4. Or actually, let's just say it's 6. So 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus the 3 is 15. So that's too much. So let's try 5. 26 times 5. 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus the 3 is 13. So it's 425 with no remainder. Okay, before you do the problems that we haven't done, I do want to just at least hit one homework problem. I know probably the toughest is making sure that you follow all of the instructions. So on this one, it says estimate, then find the quotient, and then write the remainder if any. So on this one, we're simply going to write remainder and what the remainder is. Estimating is just for you. If you don't do it on your homework, I'm not going to count it against you. It's just for you to have that number in your head so that you know if you're getting close. So on this next one, however, it says to find the quotient, but then they want you to write the remainder as a fraction. So if there's any remainder, remember this one's going to be over 35. So you're going to take whatever the remainder is and you're going to put it over what it is. So let's try number 5. I'm going to blow this up. All right, so 20 can't go into 1, it can't go into 16, but it can go into 168. And it's about 8 times, so let's try that. 20 times 8. 8 times 0. 8 times 0 is, whoops, my pen's messing up. 8 times 0 is 0, and 8 times 2 is 16, so that's 160. Very important that you line everything up when you're doing this. So I'm going to put my 8 right above here because that was the place value that I left off on. So now I have 168 minus 160, and that is going to be 8, and then I bring down my 3. So 20 goes into 83 about 4 times. So 20 times 4. 4 times 0 is a 0, and 4 times 2 is 80. So I've got 80, and this is a 4. And so I've got 3 left over. So where my remainder is 3. But remember, they wanted the remainder to be a fraction. So then that means I'm going to take this 3 and I'm going to put it over 20. So my answer is going to be 84 and 320. All right? I'm going to be on the carpet if you need me. You can work with a partner at this time to finish all of the problems that we haven't done together. Good luck.